Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode. Today, I'm back with Ketan. So, Ketan is an fitness entrepreneur and has an experience in private equity more than 15 years. So, that's crazy. Again, Ketan, thank you very much for being here. It's my pleasure to have you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lakshit. Thank you for having me on the call.
Yeah. So, before beginning, Ketan, it would be great if you can introduce yourself about your work and what you do. That would be wonderful.
Yeah. So I have recently started, as you rightly said, actually, I am a fitness entrepreneur. This is my second venture into fitness. By education, I'm a chartered accountant and I worked in the financial services industry for now about 18 years, of which about 15 years have been in private equity with a firm, with a family office firm. And now, about 4 years back, I really got excited about the opportunity in fitness, and we started a personal training studio here in Bombay. And now I think there is a real opportunity, especially given the COVID and the pandemic and the lockdown and so on and so forth. There's a real opportunity for online fitness, especially using technology globally. And we've seen the rise of a lot of fitness services globally online, like Soul Cycle and so on and so forth, which and Peloton bikes, which really have people working out from home. Now, whether that's the new normal or whether it's just a phase is something we'll, I think, eventually find out. But I think that more and more people are going to be looking at some sort of solutions for online fitness for sure. It's not going to be completely the old way where the only way you can work out is going to a
Jim.
gym
Hmm.
and joining a group class and so on and so forth. So with that in mind, I came up with the idea that we need to be able to do some sort of online training in some form. And where I saw the opportunity is that while there are hundreds of fitness centers, even physical fitness centers that are there, and there are thousands of online classes that are running, I think what typically people tend to miss is that while you get people to really work out, people miss the other aspects of the training. People miss what nutrition should be all about. People miss what how much rest a person should get. And the biggest part that we do not see is that every person is extremely different,
Yeah.
extremely start at a different fitness level. They have different goals, they have different stuff in their mind about what fitness should be, they have different dietary preferences, and they come from different backgrounds and have different family situations, right? Some people stay with their parents, some people stay alone. So to be able to get the right results, a person needs to have has to have his plan customized to his situation and exactly his circumstances. So personal training is what is extremely dear to me. Now, how we do it in online fitness is something that we have sort of attempted to crack, and we've basically built the brand on that. So the brand is called Alpha Coach. And what we want to do at Alpha Coach is to bring out the most alpha selves of every individual person that they can bring out. It's not trying to make everybody an alpha in that sense, but their own alpha selves, which is the best version of themselves as can possibly be, right? And what typically we have seen is that there are tons of people who tend to waste a lot of their time, especially many years of their time trying to get fit. They'll waste a lot of money buying programs that are not catered to them. But and that is because there's a lack of clarity in what to do, and there's a lack of clarity, a lack of structure and systems and accountability by their coaches. And that's what leads to them really yo-yoing through, losing the same 6 to 8 kgs constantly, going back up and going back down. And I myself have done that for 10 whole years. I have followed or bought or tried 30 different programs, online, offline, hired personal trainers, etc., 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 done challenges ranging from 25-day to 40-day to 3-month programs and so on and so forth, which have eventually, or rather, which had eventually left me or my body completely battered. It was, my relationship with food went for a toss. I thought food is only fuel. You can't have a, a good tasty nutritious food while losing weight, and you have to literally put your life on hold if you need to have a fitness goal. with that in mind, this is what we thought was missing in this world. It's there are some good companies that definitely do it, right? But there aren't enough, and therefore there's a massive opportunity for any good brand to come out and actually build an honest product, to be able to give out to people, to say, you know what, if you come to us and you have a goal, we will work with you. We will, whatever your fitness level, whatever access to gym equipment that you have, whatever your diet preferences typically are, we will help you change those one step at a time to be able to get to your goal in the most optimal time possible. And
Okay.
that's really what Alpha Coach is about.
Okay, okay. So how, this it's really fascinating, and of course I think as we were in COVID, everybody was recognizing that we can't go to gym, but we'll have to work our bodies, otherwise you're going to get fat and you put on more weight. So of course the digital thing is going to be there, and the rise is going to, of course, going to happen. And I think big fitness companies as Cult Fit and Cure Fit, they did start with these live sessions and all those things on their app also. So yeah, I do agree upon that point. And what how did this, that day we were talking about your first venture, which you had, and then you had to close off because of some reasons. Then you start a second. So what was your one thing which ki hai na, Ketan, which made you give that power ki meko ye karna hai, I will not stop, but I'll open another one which is going to be working for in a different way.
Well, yeah. So, like I said earlier, I think physical centers have and are going to continue to have some sort of a challenge going forward, unless the vaccines come out, unless everybody is completely comfortable going out and training in the presence of others, touching the same equipment, and if people are not afraid anymore, then at that point, physical centers will make a comeback, because that typically is a great escape out of their homes and offices, and people find it almost like their temple, where they go and actually go and let everything out. If they're frustrated, they go and bang some weights. It's all good. They can run hard. They can go. They can train some HIIT and so on and so forth. So physical centers are not on their way out for sure. We had to shut down because of COVID, and we really couldn't, come to a good solution to restarting back up. That's why we had to shut that. Having said that, online fitness is definitely here to stay. I think everybody wants to have access to fitness, especially the realization that's come in after COVID is that health is a real priority. We've grown up hearing, or the oldest axiom there is that health is wealth, and I think health truly is wealth. If you can't get up and go to work in the morning, you of course can't earn the money that you want to earn, right? So that's the most basic thing. But health is wealth in many other factors: the energy to be able to play with your kids, if you want to go out and for a run, if you're out on a vacation and you want to go up that mountain on a trek, if you want to even party all night and be able to dance for hours on end, you still need energy, and for that you need health, right? So I think online fitness is one great method that people can use anytime, as if they don't have access to a regular gym or access to a personal trainer. So what we have done in personal training at Alpha Coach is that we've got the best coaches who are experts at transformations, who are experts at fat loss, who are experts at becoming great mentors to each of our clients. And they act as your friends and guides together to handhold you through the journey, whether it takes you 3 months or 6 months or more, right? Because most people, what happens is that they have put on this weight over 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and have become overweight and have become lethargic. Those habits have come. It's not just the weight that they put on over the years, but those lethargic habits that have come over the years. The choices of food that they make, the relationship that they have with their food, the metabolism has been destroyed in some manner or the other, and they've just become so lazy or just not into fitness at some point, right? And that takes years to change as well. You can't overnight say, okay, I'm going to hit 20,000 steps today, I'm going to start eating chicken and broccoli, I'm going to cut back all carbs, I'm going to cut back on all sweets, I'm going to cut back and do all of these things right on day one. It's just not going to be possible, right? So what we do is we say, let's change one habit at a time. This week, focus on reading food labels. Just be aware of what foods you're eating, right? Just be aware of that. This week start, a lot of people don't even put 5,000 steps a day. Just don't do it, because they just wake up, they'd have their chai, they get down to work, they're sitting at the desk all day. At the most, they're walking around the office or home a little bit, and 3 to 4,000 steps a day is what they get to really achieve, right? But what we say is, therefore, start with 6,000 this week, get to 8,000 next week, get to 10,000 after a month. Go slow, cut back on those chais, have a black coffee instead, or a green tea, or a black tea, right? Start eating a salad, maybe dinners this week, two dinners this week. Start drinking more water. So these are small habits that we want to change over the first 1.5 months, which when then they do, are able to get into that mode of saying, okay, you know what, now I'm ready for a fat loss. Now I'm ready for a little more stringent plan. Now I can start training, right? And pushing a little more heavyweight. So everything has to be done in a manner that it has to be done consistently over a long period of time, right? And that's what we want to bring in. So this is what Alpha Coach's online training is entirely about.
Okay, great. Yeah, so just thank you very much for taking through, what it's all about and how things work. So, how do you see it? Like, have you made any plans, or do you have any plans for the future, or where do you see Alpha Coach going, and or how do you wish that things go on? Of course, things doesn't go as you wish because it's always different. But what do you see, and what do you wish to, how it goes in future?
Well, I think personal training is not so cheap product, right? Firstly, I think it's not for everyone. A lot of people like to just go out and get work out and train, and they like to simply, how would you say, they work out so they can eat, they work out so they can party, and they work out so they have those goals and treats that they have already planned, and that's why they like to work out. And that audience is not entirely the kind of audience that we service or can help. What we look to do typically is that we find people, or the people who really want to get someplace and are already working very hard to get there, but somehow not seeing results, right? Are the kind of people that we service, or we take on as clients, and we give them those great results because they really want to do it. So what we want to achieve at Alpha Coach over the next, say, 5 years, is to be able to impact a lot more of these people. You see hundreds of these people in the gym, right? Every single day that you go to the gym, you will see the same people year after year after year. They keep pushing heavy on weight. They will be the same guys. They'll have gym buddies. They train together. They this thing, but they somehow just don't see the results that they want. And we want to be able to help these people, because what they typically do is they try this one new fad diet, they get some results, they go back to their old ways, they try another thing, they see something, whether it's keto, it's paleo, it's intermittent fasting, it is going completely vegan, it's complete, cutting out dairy, cutting out gluten, cutting out sugar. But eventually they're not creating those habits that are there long term for themselves. And therefore, and I've done that too, I know exactly what these people go through, because mentally they're like, okay, I'm trying this, I'm going to go hard at it, and they're not able to do it. But what happens eventually is that they start completely missing the point wherein they are not able to get those results, and they start to believe that they will never get that result, or they believe that it's not for them, or they believe that somebody else has better genetics, or they believe that somebody has so much money they can have a private trainer at home staying with them, or a personal chef who can constantly make those healthy foods tasty, but they do not deserve it, and that's what they feel. We want to change that, and we want to impact 1,000 people or more over the next 1 to 5 years, to be able to change that mindset belief in the first place. It's not to do so much with the physical transformation, but their physical transformation is everything. It
Hmm.
creates that discipline inside of them, it creates that mindset, it gives them that confidence that, a guy can take off his t-shirt at the pool or the beach and say, yes, I can do that. It gives them the confidence to go and talk to that girl at the bar, or it gives her the confidence to go into that boardroom and make a presentation and sell the idea to an investor or pitch it to a client, right? Which most people don't feel, especially if they're very conscious about the weight or the way they look or the way they feel. They're not able to deliver their best performance with them, even with their spouse or with their child. If the spouse wants to go for a whole day of shopping, you're like, oh, yeah, just this thing, not, you're too tired. Or if a child wants to play football and you just don't have the energy, or you'd rather sit back and just drink up your beer on a Saturday afternoon. If you don't have the energy, it's not about your preference, but I'm saying, if you don't have the energy to do it, if you don't have the desire, the will that comes with being fit all the time, it sort of hampers everything around you. And if you can change your physicality, your physique, your body, your energy, your health, that also changes your mind, because that also becomes lighter. It becomes open to more possibilities. It starts, you start, your imagination, your creativity, everything becomes better just by doing one thing, which is taking care of your health. And that's where I want to see Alpha Coach be, just to impact more and more people and say, listen, this is for life. Health is for life.
Yeah.
Get to a great place and maintain it. You're already maintaining an unhealthy lifestyle. You'll have to make certain small sacrifices that you can do, and then get to that great place where you're completely happy. In at Alpha Coach, it's called phase 6 or alpha living, wherein you're completely happy with yourself. Now you're not really following a diet. You don't want to avoid that alcohol. You don't want to avoid going out. You don't want to avoid that cheat meal, because you know exactly what everything does to your body and your mind. Because just feeling fat and lethargic, and generally makes you a slow person in your mind as well, right? And if you know all of those, and you're able to easily manipulate, or easily go around those hurdles, right? And or those obstacles, if you call it that, then you're able to be able, easily live your life very comfortably and get there. So get to that place and then maintain. Get to that place and then maintain. That's really what Alpha Coach is about. It's not about extreme fitness in 12 weeks. It's not about extreme fitness in 45 days. We want to get people sustainably fit so they can be in the best shape of their life for life, literally for the rest of their lives.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. This again, one question I just would like add up on here is key. You worked in private equity, then you started startup, then that startup had to close because of the COVID. Then you started another startup. So what, as as what do you learn from this? What's some major takeaways and major learnings you took and you got from these phases of your life, where you have seen a whole different part of yourself and the work you did and how you did them, and then being in the first times and getting into the better and the best ones. So how do you feel, and what your take up and what you're learning from these?
Well, I think, as again the cliched thing goes, I mean, change is the only constant, right? You can't be relying on one thing and saying that's going to remain permanent forever. You have to be able to make the small pivotal changes at the right time to get out of it. So when we decided to shut the gym was in May 2020, a month and a half after COVID hit, and we foresaw that this is going to be a long-term problem. It's not something that we decided in September or October of last year and so on and so forth. We tried to revive that opportunity of restarting that gym, but it was not something that we expected or were banking upon long term. So when we and I got this idea for Alpha Coach again in April, May last year itself, when I realized that, what, the world is going to change for the better or for the worse. If there is a problem, gyms typically will be massively affected because of this, and we will be eventually not be able to open, and therefore we in fact shut our doors. Obviously we had to close our doors because the government asked us to close in March, but we actually served the notice for closure in May 2020 itself, because we realized it's just not going to happen. So it's not, so you need to be able to live a few years in the future to be able to foresee. You need to have some sort of foresight. You need to have definitely the ability and the little bit of courage and grit to say, what, I think it's going to change, and therefore just make that change, be brave about it. But yes, you should not lose the grit that you have, the fortitude that, I am going to continue doing what I do, but aimlessly. You need to be able to say, okay, I'll do it, but if it doesn't seem like a right fit, I'm going to move out of it. There's no point. And that's how I got into online fitness.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. And what would be your advice to graduates or people who wish to start any kind of fitness startups or wish to get into private equity or any other thing? Then I think this podcast is more about entrepreneurship, just I want to cover about. And so why don't you share your thoughts in that and what they must try to do, and where what are the wrong things you did which they must not repeat.
Yeah, so I think most people get into entrepreneurship because there is this aura that has been created about entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Don't ruin a job, don't get stuck in a 9 to 5. Entrepreneurship, don't work for somebody for 40 hours, instead work for yourself for 80 hours a week, and so on and so forth. I think it's been romanticized so much
Yeah.
that people believe that that is the only path to success, happiness, and wealth. I don't think that's the case. Everybody cannot be an entrepreneur. I've now turned 42, and now this is my new venture at 42. It's not like I'm 26 or 22 and I need to make it big at that point of time, right? I haven't even made it big on this platform yet. I'm still starting up, right? And there are plenty of other stories where people start off late. First thing that you shouldn't do is don't do it for the money, or don't do it to make millions, and don't do it for the billions, right? It's just not what always happens. Some people definitely do it, and a lot of people definitely make some of it, but 95% of the startups fail in the first 5 years. It is a proven stat. What you should become an entrepreneur for, if there is that one problem that you feel is so irritating, and it's you're so convinced that there is a problem, and that enough people have that problem, and that problem needs to be solved at any cost, right? And it needs to be done better than anybody else, right? And that, or differently than anybody else, because you feel there's a better way. And if you're consumed by that problem, waking up, going to bed, through the day, you're thinking about it, right? Then you should become an entrepreneur. Not because, oh, every entrepreneur makes billions, or they raise so much money, or that one Ola became so much, or, blah, blah, blah. It is not just about that. No, entrepreneurship is brutally fucking hard. Okay. To use that term, it's brutal. Okay. You don't have any midway. There are times when I am euphoric, and there are times that I'm terrorized. There is no in between. There are days when we're like, oh my God, this is a great day. We got sales, we got this thing, this influencer said this, my podcast went up, or that article went up, and so many people have messaged me, and so on and so forth. And then there are days when, oh my God, that client has left. Oh my God, what are we doing wrong? Etc. 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 And you know what the most important thing is? It doesn't matter to the market. People don't buy Apple products, right? Because Steve Jobs was such a cool guy, right? They don't buy a Mercedes because the guy who started Mercedes started it, or was so cool, correct? They buy stuff because they believe that the products speak to them. The
Hmm.
products are of insane value, right? And what they're paying for is less than that value, right? Nobody buys stuff because the founder went to IIT or Harvard. Nobody was on Facebook because Mark Zuckerberg was at MIT or Harvard or wherever, right? No one buys stuff for that, or they don't buy stuff from you because they feel bad for you. Somebody's going through a divorce, or somebody's bankrupt, or therefore they should buy from this guy and help him. The market doesn't care,
Yeah.
right? So what they do is they buy because they feel that there is real value in the product. They feel that the product delivers on its promise and will continue to deliver on its promise, for the sustainable and foreseeable future, right? So what we have done is that we have made a simple promise that if you come to us and have a goal to lose X amount of kgs, or you want to build strength, or you want to just fix your issues, etc., etc., and if we are able to help you, then we will put out a program which is customized to you, right? And therefore build it.
Hmm.
We don't say that, oh, you know what, you're going to lose 10 kgs in a month, or we don't tell you that, yeah, you'll be able to deadlift 200 kgs after 3 months, because those are outcome goals, right? As opposed to something you can control. So we say, we're going to help you change your mindset. We're going to help you change your daily habits. We're going to help you change your structure and the systems that you use. And all of those small habits will lead to that outcome goal, which you have. So there are controllable goals and uncontrollable goals, right? And you need to be able to do what's right. So therefore, we entrepreneurship also has to be done to help people control what they can and give them serious value over a period of time by helping them make those changes. So if I have a image, a video editing app or an image editing app, right? I will give them the tools to make that photo better. I can't say I can make your photo better, right? But how they use those tools, which is to crop it, to add a filter, but it's up to them how much time they spend on that app, learn how to use that app well, right? And then get that right image that they like. I can't do it for them, right? And then expect them to like it. And they're not going to download and pay and buy the premium version of the app if because I went to IIT or I'm a CA or I worked in private equity. So that does not matter. We want to be able to give them the tools and the systems and the structure and the strategies to be able to help them get what they want, which is the outcome,
Mhm.
right? And
Mhm.
everything depends on their effort eventually. They have to put in the work.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's
So
what I would say about entrepreneurship.
yeah, that's true. That's really true. So yeah, I think we have covered up on wonderful things, and that's great that you joined me in. Before ending up this session, one last question I would ask you is, Ketan, what message you would like to leave here to anybody listening this or watching this? Any kind of message?
I think, yeah, I think the top three skills I would say,
Yeah.
okay, which I have noticed is in an entrepreneurship, and I would like to tell people that is that what they need to do and what people don't typically think about is that one I've already mentioned is that there needs to be a desire to solve a real problem, right? The second one would be that they need to have the knowledge or they need to hire a co-founder who would have that knowledge. So for example, at Alpha Coach, we have got I have got a co-founder called Vishnu, who is a fitness expert and also understands a little bit of technology as well. So I don't have the fitness knowledge myself. So obviously I need to hire the right talent to do it.
Mhm.
Similarly, we have coaches who actually coach the clients. I can't coach clients myself because I am not a fitness coach myself. Right. And then you need five more skill sets, which are extremely important. And they all rank number one, which is patience, patience, and a whole lot more patience. I don't think people would work 40 years at a job and expect and then say, okay, you know what, this is it, and this is safety, there's security, and so on and so forth. And but they give their business 3 months to 6 months to make them billionaires. So I think if you want to become entrepreneur, patience is the biggest skill set that you can have. And I think that's the biggest advice that I personally sometimes fail at following on my own. But yeah, I know that it's there. So every time I find myself that, oh my god, this should have happened, why is this not already happened, why don't we already have a million followers and so on and so forth, or a million registrations, I'm like, listen, patience, right? And I tell myself that all the time. So that's really what uh, the biggest skill set is.
Okay. Okay. Great. So
My
again,
advice.
yeah, I think that's really, it was a wonderful session. Ketan, it was wonderful having you. The way you kept, put up your answers. I think you were before scared to, join up with a video, but you killed it. It was wonderful. Thank you very much for being here. It
Thank
was my
you.
pleasure to have you. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Lakshit. Bye bye.